up this game here. This is Wonder Boy in Monster World. Someone recently told me that this was pretty good, so I found a copy of it and picked it up. I've never played it before, and I got it loose without the manual. So I'm going to do this review a little bit differently than usual. We're basically just going to pop it in, start playing it, and it's going to be unedited. So we're going to go through the game. I'm going to be learning as we go along, and hopefully I don't get too stuck at any one part. So let's check it out.
Sega! So here we go. It's going to be unedited, like I said. And, you know, I was really surprised by this game. As soon as I popped it in, the graphics were very colorful. And this isn't a late Sega Genesis game. I mean, it came out in 1991. So, not a late Sega Genesis game by any means, but yet it looks like one. It's very colorful, very, very good use of the available color palette. And actually the music's really good too. So I was really surprised from this game right from the start. I didn't think it was going to be anything at all like what it was. So I can't remember who it was that hinted me towards this game. It was in one of my last videos, the Sega Genesis for Super Nintendo reply video that I did. Someone was mentioning some great Sega Genesis games to check out, and you know, most of them I've checked out or seen before, and except for this one. Look at the graphics, the colorful graphics. It almost looks like a Super Nintendo game, dare I say it. And of course, good use of the multi-scrolling. So like I said, I've never played this game before. I've done a quick little practice run on the game just to get used to the controls. And I've tried to read the instruction manual online to get, not the instruction manual, but actually someone had a walkthrough, and in the walkthrough they listed the controls. That's all I wanted to know was the controls, so I know I'm not missing some key, you know, button combination or something. So other than that, I'm absolutely new to this game. Going through it, I mean, first impressions, I was pretty impressed with the menu system. Obviously, you can, you know, equip different items and magic spells. Very much like a Zelda it's very much like a Zelda clone in a side-scrolling action game. So maybe like Zelda II. I haven't played a lot of Zelda II on the NES, so I can't say for sure, but I have a feeling it's probably pretty similar. So if you like that, this is definitely something that you want to check out. The menus take a little bit getting used to here. Obviously, I have to figure out how to go through different things and equip things. And you start off with a basic sword and basic armor. And I believe you start off with a magic spell here. So we've got a magic spell equipped. And actually, if you look at the top right of the screen, it shows a D-pad, and then on the left or right of the D-pad, you have two spots where you can equip things, such as items that you'd use or magic spells. And pressing A and then left or right will use that item. So it's like a quick way to use any two items that you want to set to that. So kind of like A Link to the Past, except I think you only had one box to equip like a quick use thing. And obviously the top left is your health. Just like in Zelda, you will gain more health as you go through the game. You know, you'll get more potentially max health. You'll find more hearts throughout the game. So no doubt there's a little bit of Zelda clone in here. But also some other games. I mean, there's a little bit of Keith Courage in here, where you're getting gold off the enemies you kill, and the enemies do respawn to a certain degree, but eventually they won't. So yeah. Once again, a lot of use of parallax scrolling in this game. Really looks good, and the colorful graphics look good. I like the way sometimes the trees in the backgrounds have like a cross stitch. It looks like it's painted almost. You'll see that more in some of the other areas. So we got some platforming here. The water doesn't hurt you, which surprised me. The first time I fell in the water, I thought, oh crap, I'm dead. But no, the water doesn't hurt you. You can walk through the water. I'm wondering if eventually you can swim in the water. You'll see why in a little bit, why I would think that. Obviously a game that you can backtrack in at any time. And I forget why I'm backtracking now. Why am I backtracking now? Oh, I've got enough gold. Right. See, I gotta pay attention here. I've got enough gold now to get the leather boots. I think the leather boots are supposed to make you walk faster, but I didn't notice anything. So let's see if we notice anything here. It must not be like a huge difference. The leather boots obviously being like the first upgrade we're getting here. So we've got 30 gold to purchase these leather boots. Now whenever you buy anything, you do have to equip it. So I haven't actually equipped the leather boots yet. Am I going to equip them? Hello? Okay, here we go. So it's under boots. There we go. So we start off with the cloth boots, and now we've equipped the leather boots. Whatever's in yellow is what's equipped. I guess you do walk a little bit faster now. Yeah, you walk a little bit faster now. Which I guess would make you a little less tedious, because you do a lot of walking in this game. Like I said, you do a lot of backtracking. Kind of reminds me of a more colorful version of Faxanadu on the NES. Pronouncing that right, where you go from village to village and you fight these enemies to gain gold and buy upgrades, and you do a lot of backtracking in that game too. So this is kind of like a colorful, cartoony version of Faxanadu, I guess. It's much easier to platform now that I have the shoes and I move a little bit faster. You jump out a little bit further because you're moving faster. So I always I found it difficult at first to jump onto those platforms, and that was why. The controls are pretty good. I mean, they're very responsive. B is attack, so right in the middle button is attack. C is jump, and A, like I said, is to use items. Now here's where I'm wondering if you can swim eventually, because there's a treasure chest there, and obviously we can't get to that now. But if you could swim, you could swim below and come up and get it, I'm guessing is what it looks like you're supposed to do. So some of the enemies give you health, as you see there when you hit them, to fill up your empty heart containers. And most of the enemies just give you gold. If the gold falls in the water, you can't get it. That's one thing about the water, I guess. So you gotta try and get the gold as it's falling. Once again, the music is awesome. Great use of the stereo sound. If you're playing this on a Sega Genesis Model 1, you definitely want to use your headphone jack because there's a lot of stereo effects. They bounce the music around a lot of the instruments and the drums from left to right speakers. So great use of the stereo sound. Like I said, you definitely want to use the headphone jack. Heck, pop on some headphones. The first time I played this, just my little test run, A, to see if the game worked, and B, just to get used to the controls before I actually started playing. I had some headphones on. That's the first thing I noticed was the music was great in this game, and it sounds really good on headphones with the stereo effects. Now this area blew me away the first time I saw it. Look at how colorful it is. And we've still got the parallax scrolling in the background. Great looking game. And like I said, one of the best Genesis games. One of the best looking Genesis games for its time. No doubt, 1991. So here's the inn, and this is where you can save. This game actually has battery backup, which actually was a surprise to me. I honestly assumed it was going to be a password system because there's not a lot of Genesis games that have battery backup. Like, I don't think there's as much Genesis games that have battery backup as there was NES games that had battery backup. It seemed like they always, you know, tried to cheap out and not put the battery backup in there unless they had to. I mean, obviously, you know, Phantasy Star and those games, the RPGs had battery backup, but there was a lot of Genesis games where if they could use a password system, they would have used a password system. And this game easily could have used a password system. So I was actually really surprised the first time I saw this has a battery backup. So the inn lets you save, and it also, you know, you sleep over, it refills your health. Very typical RPG elements in this game, which is awesome. This is a great game. It's a great action-adventure RPG. You know, it's like a side-scrolling version of Zelda. Like Zelda II, like I said, which I haven't played. Really, I've only played A Link to the Past. I never had a Zelda game on the NES. Back in the day when I owned an NES, I never actually had any of the Zelda games. I actually didn't play a Zelda game until Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, and obviously I loved that game. I ended up beating it first on the Game Boy Advance, actually, when they re-released it on the Game Boy Advance. So here we have a little weapon shop. We can see we have a shield and a spear and body armor that we can buy. I want to start off with buying the shield, although I realize how pointless it is in retrospect. When you have the shield equipped, if you're using the spear, you can't use the shield when you're using the spear. It takes both hands to use the spear. So you have the shield on when you're using your sword, but not when you use the spear, which is the next weapon that we're going to get once we can afford it. Once again, the colorful graphics, like I said, they did a great job with the use of the colors, and I love the way even the buildings, they don't have a black outline around them. You know, the stones have a darker outline around the stones on the building to the right. And, you know, the roof is the darker yellow shadowing around the roof, but there's no black outlines around the building. I think that makes it look awesome. And add to that the parallax scrolling with the colorful background. Here, they did a really cool effect with the flowers in the foreground. And look at how many shades of red there are in the background, in the sky. Very, very colorful game for a Sega Genesis game, especially a Sega Genesis game that's not late in its life. You know, as you got into 93, 94, 95, there's a lot of great looking Genesis games. This one for 91, like I said, is one of the best looking Genesis games. So here we get a little fairy that helps you. Gee, that sounds familiar. Although, you see, I haven't played the original Zelda, so is there a fairy in the original Zelda? Or did Zelda steal that? I've played Zelda 64, Ocarina of Time, as well. And actually, it's funny I mentioned that game, as you'll see a little later in this game. Clearly something Ocarina of Time took from this game. But yeah, so now we have a little fairy that follows us around. And she gets health from the bad guys and gives you health once in a while, so it's nice to have her around. It almost looks like she's trying to attack the enemies, which is hilarious, because she obviously isn't doing any damage to them. So this is the first time that I've seen this medicine you can buy. I wasn't sure if it's gonna, like, completely fill my health up or what. Did I buy it there? I wasn't paying enough attention. I do eventually buy one, and you'll see that it's an item that you have to use. I thought it would fill you up right away, kind of like the inn, but without paying to sleep over. But no, that's items, the medicine you take with you, and you use them when you need them to to fill your health up. As you can see there, she's using her wand on the enemy, and a heart popped out. So it's almost like she's taking a little bit of the health away from the enemies and giving it to you. So that's how she helps you out. So obviously I'm just trying to gain up gold. Like I said, the enemies do respawn, but I eventually do realize here that so I'm actually not buying the spear now. I should have checked the first time, but I didn't. So I'm actually just checking the price. So we need 80 gold to get the spear. Like I said, folks, this is unedited. I don't even know how long this is going to be. It's certainly going to be a lot longer than it needs to be because I'm going to be doing a lot of learning and backtracking, stuff that normally could get edited out. But like I said, this is not going to be edited. So yes, I just want to get enough gold to buy the spear and one of the potions or the medicines, and then we'll proceed on our way. And like I said, the enemies respawn a few times, it seems. But as I'm learning here, eventually they stop respawning. So if you leave the area and come back, obviously they'll be back and they'll respawn a few times again for you. If you notice the jittering screen, the bottom portion of the screen, the bottom quarter of the screen, that's just my TV tuner, as some of you know. Capturing Sega Genesis games is not as easy. Now, for some reason, a lot of TV tuners do not like the Sega Genesis. I had a cheap little USB capture device before this, and it worked great with the PlayStation and the NES, SNES, the 3DO, N64. It worked perfectly fine with pretty much every console that I had, except for the Sega Genesis. You would get like a black and white jumbled screen. So for some reason, a lot of TV tuners don't like the Sega Genesis. And the one I have seems to work pretty good, except for that little bit of jitter that you get in the bottom corner of the screen. So there we go, we bought the spear. Now it was weird how I hit start there and it paused instead of bringing up the menu. I don't know what happened there. But anyways, so we'll go to weapon and we can equip the spear now. I have to admit I was a little disappointed with the length of the spear. I think it's maybe a little bit longer of an attack range than the sword was, but it does do a little bit more damage. The big mushrooms here still take 2 hits to kill, but there's some of the other enemies that took 2 hits to kill now only take 1 hit to kill. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but when you're attacking an enemy, below your health is the blue bar there. It's gray now because I'm not actually attacking an enemy. Below your health, the hearts, is actually the health of the enemy that you're attacking at the time. So you do see the enemy's health as you're attacking them. Took me a while to figure out what that blue bar was. Like, wow, this is blue bar. I thought it was my strength or something. Like as I was attacking, my strength was going down. It's actually what I thought it was at first. It took me a second to realize it was the enemy's health, because you don't always see that in a game, right? So anyways, we're going to proceed. Proceeding towards the caves, past the village, as we've been told. Good chance here to gain some gold, obviously. A lot of enemies keep respawning. No parallax scrolling on this little area, sadly. It would look cool if the dark purple stuff in the background actually looked like it was in the background with the parallax scrolling. It's odd that almost all the game has parallax scrolling except for this area so far. I'm actually just going back to get another one of these medicines. You can only buy one medicine at a time, which is one thing I think I figure out here. Is I thought, oh, I'll just stock up on the medicines because I know that we're coming up to a boss fight eventually. But we've been told that there's a boss in the cave we have to defeat. But as I've realized there, even if you leave and come back, you can't buy another medicine. So I'm assuming you can only buy one medicine at a time. And once you have a medicine, another medicine will not respawn there. There I've used my magic spell for the first time. I actually just realized I haven't used a magic spell yet. It took me a while to figure out how you know how much magic points you have. There's one thing they don't show on the screen, which is odd. Of all the stuff they show on the screen, they show you the enemy's health, but they don't show you how much magic points you have. And actually I hit start there to see if it would show how many magic points I have, and it didn't. So I still haven't figured out yet as I'm playing. Obviously in retrospect I know, but as I'm playing this now, I still haven't figured out how you know how much magic points you have. I'm assuming you can't just keep using your magic spell. That would be awesome if you could, but I don't think so. Now, I was expecting it to be a boss fight right away the first time I walked in the cave, but it's not, obviously. Bit more of these goofy-looking mushroom guys. And they don't look like bad guys, do they? They look like they're nice. The first time I saw one, I think, I was like, is that a bad guy? So here we have a bit of a dead end. And a magic note on the door? A magic note on the floor? See, this doesn't make any sense. I don't have any magic spells or items that are related to music in any way. So, what did I miss? Now, unfortunately, I told you guys we're not going to edit this. And that means we're not going to edit this. So, this could get a little tedious here. I gotta backtrack. I was not expecting to have to backtrack here. But obviously we cannot get through that door. One thing about these kind of games, though, is that when you have to backtrack, you know what? At least you're gaining more gold. It never hurts to gain more gold. And if you have to backtrack by accident, well, then it just means you don't have to, grind. You don't have to grind for gold later. You need the Ocarina? How the hell do you... Orcana? I would say Orcana of Time. It's probably not Orcana of Time, is it? I'm gonna buy the armor while I'm here and I have the money. Chainmail armor. So once again, it never hurts to backtrack. Now that we have the money, we can get the chainmail armor, which, to my surprise, didn't actually raise my defense points, is what I'm checking now. You would think when you put the chainmail on, your defense points would have went up, as my attack points went up when I put the spear on over the sword. Obviously, I'm assuming the chainmail has more defensive capabilities than the leather armor. It's just not quite enough to bring it up to the next star that you visually see, I suppose. At least I hope so. It would be pretty stupid if it didn't. Once again, I cannot buy another medicine. And we're gonna go back to the cave, which really isn't much of a cave when you get inside. I was expecting it to look much more cave-like inside the cave. Never hurts to just let these guys respawn, get more gold, get more health. Especially once again, like I said, I know there's a boss fight coming up eventually in this cave. I do want to have full health for that. Of course it doesn't help when I get hit by these really easy enemies here. It's funny how the Ocarina? Jesus Christ, I should know how to pronounce that, but I don't. It's funny how that was not there the first time, and now it's just conveniently sitting there. Now that we know about it, you have to know about it. You have to have talked to her. One of those silly things in these games. I mean, if it's just sitting there, I should have saw it the first time, right? Now this part throws me off. It really does, because I've got the Ocarina now, and I gotta love unedited videos. And I don't seem to know how to play it. You know what this means, folks? We're going to be backtracking again. I'm starting to regret the fact I said this video was going to be unedited. Of course, it takes me a while to figure this out. I cannot play the thing. I actually am not sure what's going on here, because sometimes you start to play it, sometimes you just play one note, and at this point in the game, I'm not sure why. So I thought that it was random. I actually thought it was random. I thought if I keep trying to play it, eventually I'm going to play the song. Obviously, that's an idiotic thing to think, and this is a waste of time. Once again, if this was edited, I would take this out. And you would not know what an idiot I really am. But that's the whole point of this video being unedited. Like I said, I'm learning the game, and you're here with me learning the game. Come on, Jake. How long is it going to take you to figure out that you just cannot play this thing? But that's what throws me off. It's the fact when you're at the door, you can play the song. How can I play the song if I can't play the thing? Or at least I hear the song. I suppose it's just that I'm hearing the song. You're hearing the song that you know you have to play, but I just don't know how to play it. And I'm not sure if once my character knows how to play it, he just plays it automatically. That's what I'm assuming at this point. Or that I just can't play it at all and I've got to bring another character here with me. You know, I've had that happen in other games, so that's what I'm thinking. Of course, I don't know yet. Once again, this video's not edited. So like I said, we're learning together, boys and girls. And now we're backtracking again, like I said. At least it's not really that far. And like I said, we're getting more gold. Oh, you found it. Okay, here we go. Now you're going to teach us how to play it, aren't you? Or you're going to come along with us. Holy schmoly, Batman. Remember what I said? There's something that Zelda 64 took from this game. There's no doubt they didn't. Think about it. You get an Ocarina, and you need to use it in the game, and you use it by remembering the songs, which are button combinations. The notes represent A, B, and C on the Genesis controller. I gotta say, did they borrow that idea from this game? Of course, I'm not writing this down. If I was a smart person, I would be writing this down. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'm going to remember this by the time I get back there, all 3 songs. Or am I thinking that it's going to remember it for me? It's going to show me the buttons on the screen? Write these things down, people. I will teach you this today. Write these kind of things down in these kind of games. Which, once again, I'm going to waste more time as we get to these doors and I try and play the songs, and I haven't written them down. So, once again, for the 3rd time, we're going back to the caves. The caves that don't look like caves. And this video so far is 30 minutes. That's right, 30 minutes. What could have been done in 10 or less if we were editing everything out. It seemed like a good idea at the time because, like I said, not having the instruction manual and not playing the game, I only checked the very, very basics. When I went online, I only checked the controls. That's all I checked. I didn't look into any actual walkthroughs or playthroughs. I just went online to find the controls, which is good because knowing how to use magic, you have to hold down A and then press left or right to use an item or to use magic. So, yeah, that could have been hard to figure out without the instruction manual. So right away I remembered the first song, no problem, to open the first door. But like I said, there was 3 songs, 3 doors, so... I know I have a bad memory, and yet I didn't write that down. Now look, I know I said this wasn't going to be edited, but I'm going to edit this out because this takes me like 10 minutes sitting here trying to play the stupid song. And eventually I go backtrack again, so I can get these songs and write them down this time. I'm not going to make you sit through that. Look, the moral of the story is write this shit down, and you will be good. So I'm going to edit this out. This is the only thing I'm going to edit. You do not want to see me sit here for 10 minutes trying to play the thing and then finally backtracking. So here we go. I've fast forwarded. I've jumped forward for your convenience. So we're through the second door now. Keeping in mind, I've just edited out the fact I've gone back and looked at the songs again and wrote them down this time. So we're going to get through the third door pretty quickly here too. And here's a big treasure chest, which is the first time I've found a treasure chest that I've actually been able to open. The first one we saw I could not get to yet. And we get a heart piece, which is awesome. Especially when there's a boss coming up, and I don't know what to expect from this boss. So here's the third door. Play the third song. And on to, I assume, the boss. Yeah, and there's the boss door. She gives you lots of health here, which is cool. She fills you up, I guess. I'm assuming she'll fill you right up before the boss. Giant-ass mushroom thing, and once again, I don't know what to expect. The first thing I do is throw my magic spell at him. And, No, I did not want to play the frickin' Ocarina. No, did not want to do that in the middle of the boss fight. And now I wasted the magic spell because it didn't go towards the boss, it went towards this stupid little mushrooms that he's spawning at me, and now I'm out of magic. So, yeah. Once again, it would be nice to see that on the screen, how much magic you can use before you run out. But you don't. Oddly enough, I managed to beat him. I totally sucked there, yet I was lucky I managed to beat the boss. And we found a firestorm again. Okay, so that is that. I'm going to leave it there. This video is already 40 minutes long, and we've gone through the first bit of the game and beat the first boss. I have to say, awesome game. Totally awesome game. I was really surprised by it. An earlier Genesis game, 91, you know, I was right away surprised by the colorful graphics, the great music. The controls are awesome. You know, the controls are perfect. They absolutely are. And just an all-around great game. Great action-adventure with RPG elements in it. I can't say anything other than pick this game up. If you have a Sega Genesis, pick this game up. This is a great game on here. And that is it. See you guys later. And thanks for watching 40 minutes of this crap.